Hey y'all, it's Anna, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the next stages of me and Lainey's senior project. So as you might remember, our project is a branding package for a festival in Hattiesburg that we're calling Hattie's Gal Fest, and it's centered around an all-women lineup and women speakers and just female empowerment in the music industry in general. So right now what we're working on is solidifying our basic brand elements, so our first brand elements. So in our last video, we talked about the one sheet that we made with Kim that kind of explored different fonts and color choices that we were considering, and we've officially solidified our color palette, which is super exciting, and now we're working on more specific elements like the logo and our festival lineup poster and all that fun stuff. So the basic idea of like a branding package is that marketing communications should be integrated across all platforms in order to create brand awareness and brand exposure, because the more a consumer is exposed to the same images, the more likely they are to remember a brand by those images. So our project is kind of focused on creating that consistent image across all the different types of platforms, whether that's social media platforms or like Lainey's mini magazine and written, like print, communications, that sort of thing. And so it's just all the different areas that you would promote a music festival on. Our project is centered on creating a consistent identity across those. And so in order to create that brand identity, obviously we have our colors, we have our fonts and everything, but we wanted to start with creating a really solid logo, and Kim really encouraged us to do that to give us a jumping off point, because with a logo you can turn it into t-shirts. After that you can expand on it further, and really just make it into the center and the core identity of your brand. So for our logo, we created the look of this woman who's sitting on the ground, and hopefully on iMovie I can put it somewhere around here. But we created a woman who's basically, it's like a drawing that we did, and she's holding the female symbol and a record, and this just captures like the feminine identity that we wanted, while also bringing in the music element, and just kind of like the peace and like witchy, like spiritual kind of vibe, I guess, to it. So for the first like 75% of our project, we're working heavily in the design stages, so creating that brand identity, and visualizing our logo in different formats like t-shirts, posters, and trying to figure out how to communicate the identity that we want in our logo and all the different communications. And then for my specific portion of the project, I'll be working on creating a business plan for the festival itself. And so in order to complete the first steps for this, for me, we created a fake lineup like on our own and created a list of speakers and everything. And so I'll basically be looking through like the logistical aspects of how that will all work out. And so like finding vendors and food and sponsors and all that stuff, and how the layout of the festival itself will be, in order to communicate what we want to communicate. I'll also start to look at competition with festivals like around in the area. So looking at like, okay, maybe there's not a huge music festival in Hattiesburg, but I know we did Leaf River Fall Fest with John. So looking at like, where was that successful? How did that, like, how is that structured? All of that. I'll also be creating a plan for distribution of all of our content. So it's great that we're thinking of all these ideas and the logo and everything, but it has to have a really solid distribution strategy for it to be able to reach the target audience. So part of that will be looking into our target audience and looking at the demographics of the women who are going to be coming to our festival, where they're finding things on social media to connect with, like how we connect with them on social media, and that'll actually go into Lainey's copy for social media. So while she's creating the actual posts and captions and things to capture their attention, I'll be creating the strategy behind those things. And so right now the first 75% of our project is mostly heavily design focused on that side, but also for each of us research focused, so that we can just create a really solid strategy, I guess, for our festival, and how we would actually promote this thing if it were happening in the real world. So I'm really excited because for the next step, we're going to start looking at finalizing an actual lineup poster, which is super fun. We did one for Dead Week Beats, and I'm just excited to have that creative outlet again. And then after that, we'll start looking at putting our logo on Facebook. How will it look like, as a banner, on things, that sort of thing. And then also how will it look on a website, on a t-shirt. So that's what I'm looking forward to, and I can't wait to keep you all updated.